Hi there, my name is John McLaughlin. I'm a real estate agent with the North Florida Moves team at Keller Williams in Tallahassee, Florida, Florida's capital city. So I wanted to share with you my journey in choosing a CRM. And I had formerly done a lot of research before I chose my previous CRM in Commissions Inc. Sync is known as the Cadillac of CRMs. It's expensive, it's pricey, it's got a lot of bells and whistles. And so as my 4-year journey with Sync came to a close, I was looking for a better value and a better platform. And so things that I was looking for, number one, I needed an all-in-one system. I didn't want to have too many plug-and-play pieces together that weren't connected underneath the same bubble, if you will. I didn't want to have my lead gen and my leads be different or separate from my platform. I didn't want to have my task management and listing management be separate if I could help it. I also wanted my IDX, my CRM, my lead gen, my dialer, and task manager all underneath the same bubble. And they all spoke to each other in a way that could communicate between closings. I didn't want to use CTE anymore. Tracking my business should have all been in the same bubble. So I wanted to replace a lot of my systems with one CRM if it were possible. The second was that my CRM needed to be simple, customizable, and offer a plethora of automated systems to communicate to my database, as well as my new leads that were coming into the system in a very consistent and predictable way to help communicate when I was in the field. So the technology has been there with lots of other CRMs, and with Sync, they were just starting to get there, but I wanted to make sure my CRM that I ended up with had that tool available. Third, I needed it to be accountable and fully disclosable to share with me what was going on in my business. What were my business trends? You can see on the front page here the business goal based off my closings and how the business is working right now with pendings. Am I on track or am I behind? I want to be able to know those things. What about for my website exposure? Can I track that data easily and simply? What about agents on my team? Can I see what they're doing and hold them accountable if they're slacking on our team systems? I want to be able to track all of that easily and simply to focus on my one thing. I need my platform that I'm working with to do that one thing as well. And then finally, well, not finally, but I need it to be reasonably priced. Considering, again, Sync was very expensive, and $1,500 a month for a small team before lead gen costs is really expensive. I needed better. The value wasn't there, and I needed to find a better system that would help accomplish the same goals, but more effectively. And then finally, of course, I needed a very clean and customizable IDX site with data that the public could benefit from. Now, in today's world, everybody's on mobile. I needed a website that would be able to be very sticky. Can the content and data that I'm sharing with the public while I'm lead generating, either advertising or sharing my listings with the public, can I get that quality data back to my leads and prospects simply? Is it good content? Is it relevant content? So I'm going to jump real quick into my top 5 pros before I get to the 5 cons. I want to have a very objective day-to-day usage type of approach to this. And the favorite things that I like about this and the least favorite things that I don't like about it, I want you to know from a very objective perspective. So first off, customization between pipelines and groups. It's a game changer when trying to figure out who do I need to talk to and building that pipeline funnel. If you've not been taught or coached how to organize your database, I would highly encourage you to get some fine tuning on this for yourself. And what I mean by that is understanding how to organize your existing buyer and seller pool. You need to have a system around that. And what I've used the groups for in Chime is to figure out who do I need to contact based off which bucket they're in. So we coach and teach our team about organizing our database based off of a hot, nurture, and watch system. So hot leads, we're expecting them to buy or sell in the next 30 to 60 days, 1 to 2 months. Those are actively in the market buyers. Their lease is going to end. Their house is under contract. They're being forced to relocate. Those are the high motivated buyers or sellers. And we can see there's some based off of, I have a reminder set. If it's not been called in 7 days, it's going to show up here. And this list is going to show me as a team leader who is staying on top of their database. So right now there's 41 people that need to be touched. That's a lot of people. So this is instant accountability to teach me who's active, who's engaged with the site, and who's not engaged with the site. So sorry for the lag, but between the live recording and the internet, it's stalling a little bit. But also, too, between the hot, nurture, and watch, these are our buckets. So hot, they're going to buy hopefully in the next 1 to 2 months. Nurture in the next 2 to 6 months. According to the NAR, the average buyer search time frame from search to close when they're really serious is 10 to 12 weeks. This accommodates for that. And those up to 6 months buyers as well. And our watch is 6 months to a year and up. So this customization of these groups allows me to know our nurturers, they got to be called every 14 days. There's a list of people that got to get called today. Same thing with the watches. These are 30-day and up. If they're going to buy in 6 months and up, they got to be called at least once a month to stay in relationship with them. This allows me very simply to keep in touch with my existing database of active buyers and sellers, as well as my sphere. They're going to get a reminder every 90 days. There's obviously a list of people that got to get called. Past clients, twice a year, and so on and so forth. We'll get into the expireds and FSBOs in a minute. But ultimately, this customization is huge. Also, for pipeline statuses, I came from a world in Sync where, yes, you could trigger pipeline activity, could result in additional actions from happening. So I love the fact, my favorite part about Sync was that if you triggered somebody into the contacted pipeline status, you could trigger them on a 33 touch campaign for those contacted leads. You can do the exact same thing here in Chime. So based off their pipeline stage, easily customizable. If you want to add your own pipeline statuses, you can. So I've added a couple. For example, when our ISA sets an appointment, it goes underneath this bucket automatically because it triggers that. Whenever we add a tag, it adds to this appointment set bucket or pipeline. If the appointment was attended, we move it over to that appointment attended status or stage. So we know they're maybe not in that buyer showing status yet, but we know that they've at least attended the appointment. Based off where they're at in their pipeline, we'll trigger certain nurture and follow-up systems from our ISA. So that's huge for the pipeline status, and the group customization is awesome. Number 2, getting the expired and FSBO content into Chime. So Sync, you couldn't do this unless you bought the leads from Sync directly, and there were limitations on how often you could communicate with that particular lead. Unless the lead originated within Sync, you cannot text that lead either. Even if it was a valid, qualified lead that you were nurturing or adding into the system, could be your mother. You couldn't text or call them unless they opted in. That little annoyance and redundance completely frustrated the hell out of me. So I wanted to figure out a way to get my potential sellers, my expireds and FSBOs, into Chime. Here's how you do it. If you have a MOJO account, you'll know that your calling lists and your data and dialer section go through the expired section first. Every morning, that data loads in there with the address, city, state, email, etc. Every day, my VA, my ISA, will move over from the expired list to the expireds group. What that does is I have triggered a zap in Zapier. So whenever that new contact gets added in the group, it's going to send all that content that I want into that group within Chime. So again, once it gets into that expireds group, it'll move into the expireds group in Chime. I can now trigger automation. I can set these sellers up on market snapshots, neighborhood market data, zip code data. I can instantly add them to a drip campaign if I wanted to. So once they're in the system, from the MOJO data, I have full control over how to call and text that lead. Awesome friggin' stuff. That right there is a game changer alone, but that's number 2 for me. Number 3 is the data. The data that we have access to and we can share with the public is just second to none. So first thing is data from market snapshots and reports have excellent data for potential sellers. One feature that was missing and lacking in sync both at the same time was seller data. Getting sellers hooked up with data that they could use to help them spot trends in the market was terribly inaccurate. I was hoping for a way to connect with sellers or even past sellers or past buyers that bought a house to keep them up to date on trends in their neighborhood. So here's a good example. Let me pull into one potential or one active seller right now. I'll show you how this will work in a very practical setting. We'll pull up the lead profile here. Under engagement, we can see the seller's property. It's active on the market right now. It's in the pipeline stage. And I want to send them a market snapshot or a comparative market analysis bi-weekly so they can see, are there any homes selling in his neighborhood that are more like his home? So I can customize this market snapshot instead of going into the MLS and doing a custom CMA every week or 2 weeks. This is set it and forget it. So in this same zip code, 4,000 square feet and higher, sold homes, if there are any that pop up, they're the first to know about it instantly. Game changer stuff. Opportunities are endless with this. You can customize it to neighborhood, school district, zip code, all possible. Same thing with market reports. Same thing. The content that we get, let me see if I can pull up what this report looks like. Oop, no, I can't do that here. Either way, the reports that come through are very clean. And let me actually, I can do it this way. So if I go into the neighborhood section, right? This also is part of the data that we're talking about from the other neighborhoods and areas. The content that you have access to is just phenomenal. So this is a neighborhood called Golden Eagle. It's a more high-end neighborhood here in Tallahassee. And it's already got the boundaries all set up to trigger where it's going to service this data from. Average sale price, total listings, the crime rate, featured listings. If we had a listing in this neighborhood, it would pop up here. If you want to look for more listings, that's how you can search for that. Imagine doing targeted ads to certain neighborhoods so they can get this data and this content. Freaking gold mine right here for you. Nearby schools and businesses. You want to see the schools that are in the area based off this property. You can click on it here if you want. It should show you, if I can pull back up the map again. Sorry, y'all. Oops. Sorry for the glitch. You should be able to show where the schools are on the map. You can see there's a golf course there. Should see, it's under business. You can see professional services that are close by. Shows you where they're on the map. Also, you can see marketing trends for this specific neighborhood compared to Tallahassee, where this neighborhood stands. Sold listings, housing detail, local info, demographics. The content and the data is superb. So there's that. And then also data for our business, tracking our actual business activities. Let's show you how this looks for our reporting section. So as we go in, we see our site traffic. Take a look at this. We can see month over month is our performance. Like right now we're not advertising at all. We're not doing any online advertising. Look at our visitors, our page views, and page views per visitor. This is a big indicator of how sticky our site is. If you build out the site correctly, you're going to get a high stickiness and high engagement. So 5.5 visitor or page views per visitor, that is awesome. It means we're having content they can use and they're going to keep coming back to. It will also show us visitor activity by hour, new versus returning. Look at this. This is awesome. Almost half are returning visitors. Awesome stuff. More like 40% still. It's a high number. By source, by device. Awesome stuff. You can also see email activity. How many of your emails get open, your bounce rate by agent. You can even see your own performance. So this helps us replace CTE. This is $30 a month gone by switching over to this platform. You can see my volume, closings, GCI, revenue. Am I on pace or am I behind? My business trends, my closings, my pendings. See all this stuff here. So this is data that I would not have access to with any other system. With Sync, I definitely didn't have access to this at all either. So that's number 3 is the data. 4, customization between smart plans and the website. All of it's customizable. So everything here, if I'm going to click this section right here, see the background type. It can be a slideshow, a video, an image. This is a listing that I sold at one point, so I use that. Customize it all you want. The background overlay, let's scroll down a little bit for the main page. For the area market reports, you can change everything from the headings to the featured area. We can change the pictures, you can add neighborhoods, add a link, change the style. Tons of features here. If you want to look at the mobile version and tweak it from there as well, you can see how it would look on your mobile device. Everything about the site is tweakable, customizable. And it allows for full control over updating what you are presenting to the public. All the blocks that I showed you as well about the neighborhood sections in that data, you can add other blocks as well. See, we have these blocks of content here. I can just click and drag whatever I want into this section here. So right now, this is just, this is the main page here. This is the header. Let me go back to this here. But either way, I won't spend too much time on this. All of it's customizable. I've built all this out, and it's been excellent to work with. Very easy on the buyer side. It's got a mortgage calculator. Let me show you this. This is pretty cool. You can actually figure out their payment based off of their schedule or an affordability calculator. I like this the best. So you can afford up to how much home, shows DTI. If you have a lender partner, this would be awesome to be able to showcase to them that they have access to easily. Fill out the information, it goes right to you and to your lender. So that customization is freaking awesome. Also with smart plans, I told you a big thing that I wanted was customization and automation. So let me show you real quick the smart plans. It allows you to set up based off of whichever pipeline that you're going to be at with each particular buyer or seller, or even a past client. It allows you to set up a campaign based off of that. They've got tons of templates that have already been made available to you in their library. And either from nurturing leads, after closing, you can customize all of these as well. They had a partnership created with Curator as well. And so they've built out some of the Curator content into Chime. I've tweaked and made my own custom edits to all of these, but everything from your investor pipeline to first-time home buyers to even every step in the transaction, it's all customizable. Wouldn't it be great to send a customized template broken down for buyers once they go under contract, right? So let me show you what I have here for our current under contract. All right, so buyer under contract drip, once it triggers to under contract in the system, you can trigger out an entire campaign with automation based off what they're going to need at each step of that process. Wouldn't it be great to tell people, here's what to expect once you go under contract. Here's who your transaction coordinator is going to be. All templated out. 2 days later, hey, your binder deposit is due. after, and this is of course after the last emails are done, reminder, your loan application is due. Reminder, start shopping for homeowners insurance. Reminder, your inspection contingency is coming up. Time to buy your homeowner insurance. All these things that you may not have already templated out, if you create all this stuff, all you have to do is trigger the pipeline status to go to under contract, and it triggers all of this automatically. If the deal falls apart, you can stop it or pause it or cancel it. Because again, if you change pipelines, it will automatically pause. If it goes back to active buyer, it'll stop this campaign. So either way, that automation even applies to the AI. The AI responses in the texting are number 5, my 5th pro. The texting is seamless. So first thing, what I hated about Sync was the texting platform showed up in your text, in your, didn't show up, it did not show up like this, where it was a scrolling feed like your phone is normally for your personal text. It was a one-off in the pipelines. It showed up not as clean as this. So that being said, the texting itself is seamless. It acts like your phone's log and it's clutch. But the texting from the AI responses is just next level freaking awesome. So this response just came in for this lead. So here's a great example. This lead came into our site however long ago. Let's say when Franklin registered, right? They registered on our site, or on our former Sync site, almost a full year ago now. They re-engage back with our site. This lead's done nothing, but our AI has seen their activity and sent them responses based off of that. Look at that. Got a response, not positioned to purchase a home. It's not urgent. Hey, it is what it is, right? But we at least now have the tools to keep in touch. I can dig deeper and say, hey, that's great. Just out of curiosity, when you're ready to buy, what are you looking for? And you can continue that conversation. It turns your cold leads into nurtures based off the AI sending those responses from that buyer's engagement. It is freaking awesome. Earlier on this morning, I was in the shower and a lead registered on our site on a listing of ours. And right away, this lead came in, registered, instant response within 2 minutes, right? The lead responds back. Based off of that response, the AI responds back from there as well. Of course, we haven't been able to get back and respond to them yet, but at least they know that they got a response from us quickly, and we're here to respond to them. So again, number 5, the texting is seamless. It acts like your phone's normal text log, and the AI responses and the automation based off the website engagement are next level stuff. So those are my 5 pros. My 5 cons. Again, this is fully candid stuff, considering I've come from a very detail-oriented process with Sync, building out the entire website and the automation accordingly. So number 1, my con are missing filters. So here's what I mean by this. Let me go to my CRM. I'm not going to dig too deep into this. If you want to book a demo and learn more about how this all works, I'll get you the link in just a bit. It's also in the bottom in the messages section here, or in the profile as well. But ultimately, let me clear out my filters here. We'll get in. So we said that there's missing filters here, right? Let me move my face, my ugly face, out of the way. So if you're going to go into the advanced filter and see all the filters that are available to use, give me a second as this lags here. So it has access to filter based off all this criteria: who the agent is, who's the lender, the lead details, right? Smart nurturing. One thing that is really important as a real estate agent is understanding when leads have not been contacted last. I want to know who has not been contacted in a certain time frame, because if leads fall through the cracks, that's when deals get missed. Currently, the lead activity based off of touch is when you have touched them last. Now that's okay, but it's not the end goal that I'm hoping that Chime will solve soon. I want to know, when has a lead not been contacted last? Currently, you cannot filter based off of when someone has not contacted a lead. Now, if it's in a group, you can see it's overdue, 7 days. That pops up here. I don't care about my sphere or my existing database. I want to know, for example, when new leads or pond leads, when have they not been contacted last? Currently, I can't tell that. So that's number one. Also, I'm missing filters. While you can find overdue tasks set, if you go into the main page here, the dashboard, you can see when there are tasks that are overdue, right? However, you cannot filter based off when tasks are overdue. If you wanted to, for example, have a lead that's in your contacted pipeline status, but know if they don't have a task that's been set, and you don't know when they're due for a phone call, if you didn't set that task as a reminder, that's a missed opportunity. So unfortunately, we cannot filter based off of that either. So number one, those missing filters, those two are pretty key when you're organizing your database. Second on my cons, this arguably is the worst of the cons in that whenever a lead is in the pond, now we use the pond heavily for any new leads that come into the system. We teach our agents that unless you have a valid conversation with people, you know when they're likely to be buying a house, why they want to buy or sell, and you have a reminder or a task set, you cannot claim that lead. You have to have a conversation and validate that lead is legit. And unfortunately, if a lead comes into our system and responds to a lot of the email content that gets sent out, or they respond to our AI, currently only the team lead can see those notifications and get those emails. Now, you can go into the dashboard and opportunities will show up when pond opportunities come in. For example, when leads respond to the site activity, but they're not claims. If the site thinks it's an opportunity, it will pop up in the opportunities section. And so you can see here that there are, right now there's 20 leads here, 3 of them are mine. So 17 leads in the pond have responded recently. So see how these last touches, right, and last visit are recently? The site is good at being able to spot those opportunities and stick them into your dashboard. However, if somebody texts from our AI responses or gets an email, we can't have our agents or our ISA see that. So that's also a con, and arguably it's the worst of the cons. The third, so this list that I'm talking about now, I made this list yesterday after having other discussions with Chime about my pro and con ideas with them. And so as of yesterday, here's what this was on this list. It was you cannot mass load items from the task list into the dialer. So what I mean by this is if you go to your tasks that are scheduled for being due today, I would like to select all and then load them all into the dialer and funnel through. You can't do that. Right now, if you want to dial one at a time, you got to do it one at a time. It looks like they made a tweak. This little call button down here, today's scheduled task now pops up here. And if you wanted to filter through other people to call, let's say from your groups or your saved filters, you can check these boxes here and it'll add them to a call list as well. So it is a little bit of a workaround, but you can't select all from this section here and load it into the dialer. You have to do it through this call list feature. So it's been fixed, but it's a workaround to get there. Also, number 4, they also fixed this. So let's say that I want to go to Otume, and we're going to load them up into the dialer or make the call. Well, I'll just actually go through here to get the dialer. We'll call him. But it's not going to dial because I'm going to hang up. So before, let's say that you're reaching out to a lead and you don't get an answer, but you want to send a pre-templated text in response. You now can do that as of today. So thank you, Chime, for fixing this. Before yesterday, you could not do this. You can now send a template via the dialer. You got a team template or your own templates. You can send a pre-written and pre-templated text. Thank you, Chime, for fixing that. And number 5, it's not, again, terribly bad, but when uploading leads into Chime, it has to go to an agent. So when you are, when I was uploading and onboarding, I wanted to send leads into the platform. You can see some of these details here. I don't know if it will allow me to do this, but ultimately, for the matching columns and for exporting it, you cannot import leads into the platform into the pond. So for example, we had about 6,000 leads that were in our pond. I had to assign them to myself first before moving them over to the pond. You cannot just upload leads or import leads into the pond. So either way, it's a long video, but thank you all for watching. I mentioned the demo. I didn't really dig too deep into a lot of what Chime has to offer. I just wanted you to see what I think the favorites and my least favorites are about Chime. It was worth it enough for me to jump in and give it a shot. I would highly encourage you to dig deeper into Chime yourself and to, if possible, book a demo and see it for yourself. The cost from what I'm spending with this platform compared to Sync is less than half. I can tell you the value is there. There's a link in the bottom of this memo here, or this video here, either in wherever you're finding this video, there's a link for it. If you book a demo through this link and you sign up with Chime, they'll give you an extra perk or incentive to sign up under me and either break on your monthly fee or first month free. I forget what it is, but ultimately there are perks for you to be signing up underneath this affiliate link. And I'm here to help with your real estate journey and making your experience with Chime more beneficial. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm here and happy to help. And if you have any questions, let me know. Until then, best of luck and happy CRM hunting.